today on the Breakfast Club, DJ Envy and Ebony got into a heated argument.
Okay. I'm telling you what people are saying on comments what I've read, and I'm talking for them. I'm not a bus driver. I'm speaking for the average person out there because I feel for them because the bus drivers and the average person are what keeps these lights on here on the Breakfast Club. Right. They keep me booking shows.
Nobody is saying. Okay, first of all, this is not about you booking shows.
I'm just telling you how I feel. So when you shit on the people that
first of all,
with me,
you're dead ass wrong for framing it as me shitting on them.
You don't think I was shitting on them?
I know it. First of all, I know it wasn't. I think what you're saying right now is irresponsible. I think what you're saying is irresponsible. I think what you are framing right now in this moment is highly irresponsible. Because if you listen, I'm going to tell you. Because if you were to listen to all of the full Yana interview, the full sidebar, the full episode of Holding Court, nowhere in any of that commentary did I say, let's not skip a beat. So I would love to know how you, Envy, know what I'm looking for. We never had the conversation.
I'm telling you what people are saying on comments what I've read, and I'm talking for them. I'm not a bus driver. I'm speaking for the average person out there because I feel for them because the bus drivers and the average person are what keeps these lights on here on the Breakfast.
So that was them. It got even worse than that.
It did?
Yeah. But the thing is that I wanted to say.
Between the two of them?
Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are
rupture in the culture and not do the work of repair. So to me, this is a conversation about repairing and restoring what has historically been a productive, valuable conversation and relationship between Black men and women that somehow, some way has gotten away from us.
Well, I think it's two different conversations. Like I watched the full, I don't care who.
There's a lot of people that don't know what you're talking about. That might have just tuned in and have no idea.
So, Frank, go ahead, Frank. Do they live under a rock?
Some people, because you have to tell people what you're talking about.
Okay.
What are we talking about? So it's something from comments that, because I don't want to misconstrue, because we only had a small piece of your conversation with Ayanna.
Sure.
So during your Ayanna conversation, she asked if you would date a bus driver.
So let me back up for 1 second and be correct. I invited Ayanna on my Griot show. That Griot show airs on Byron Allen's network. The Griot airs every night at 6.
She takes too long.
This whole shit is y'all fault. This whole shit is y'all.
Okay. Basically, what she said was she was on Ayanna's podcast, and
she was on Ayanna's podcast.
Yeah, whatever. She invited Ayanna to her podcast. Okay. So they were talking, and she basically was framing it in the sense of how, as Black women or women, period, it's mostly Black women, do we date somebody and we feel safe, like. You feel safe with them, like they can take care of everything or whatever. So then Ayanna,
physically or financially?
Well, I don't think she really clarified it, but Ayanna must have taken it as spiritually, like because she asked her, "Would you date a bus driver?" And then that's when Ebony said if he owned the bus. Ebony she doubled down. She got hit with a lot of people didn't like that because it sounded like she was saying, I'm not dating somebody who's beneath me. That's a bus driver. Okay. So then she doubled down and came back the next day and said something along the lines of those jobs are mediocre or average. Mm-hmm. And I want somebody who is excels in whatever it is that they do. Not just drive the bus, but he would have to own the bus company or something.
Okay.
So then they got into an argument on the Breakfast Club. Today she came in. She said, why is everybody making it seem like the word mediocre and average is negative? And then that's when Charlamagne and that one girl with the glasses said that is a negative, even though you're saying what the dictionary definition of it, saying that it's positive, saying that it's average is not negative. It just means that it's average. It's not bad. It's not good. It's average. Charlamagne said, I don't think that essential workers are average. I think they're above average. So I don't like the terminology and the words that you're using. And basically, Ebony fell on the sense that I don't care that you don't like what I'm using. It's the truth. So my whole takeaway that I took from it was Ebony is the type of person, she'll never apologize. So you can forget that. If she hurt your feelings or whatever, she's not going to apologize. To me, she's elitist. She seems elitist to me. She seems like somebody who feels like driving a bus is average.
It's beneath me.
Or even if you don't say it's beneath, it's average.
Okay.
And it's not. I drove a bus. It's not average to drive a bus. It's hard to drive a bus.
Because if she thinks that that's average, then what is a janitor?
She never answered. That one girl said, well, what is me? She never answered that girl's question when she said, what is your level of mediocre or average? Mm-hmm. I noticed she never answered that. She just went into a whole thing with her and Envy arguing back and forth. Because Envy got on her because he said it's a lot of people who don't like what you said and felt like you calling them mediocre or average. And he said, I know some people that a janitor or drive a bus and they own several houses. So what's your definition of average?
Right.
She said, well, if they own several houses, they're not average. That's what she's saying.
So why you
gotta be above your job. And then that's when that girl said, so if you're an attorney or whatever, are you an average attorney? Do you gotta be above whatever it is you're doing?
Thank you.
So that's all that they, So I kind of like how they went with the conversation. But you're not going to get anything from
because
Eboni.
the fact that an actual blue collar title was called out by Yana, that's what kind of started it. And I think people were stuck on the bus driver title like most people do when they're having those conversations. But like you said, one of the ladies asked, as a lawyer, are you a mediocre lawyer?
Are you a mediocre?
Are you an average lawyer? You only go in there to protect the hoodlums that they would tell you to protect.
I feel like that's the way Eboni should have gone, not the job.
Yeah,
because you could be an average doctor, or a mediocre doctor.
Yeah, my mom's old doctor was.
Just because you a doctor don't mean you've made it to the height of what you need to do. Mm-hmm. So that's all I'm saying.
It's like the army, be all that you can be.
On her side, I agree. You should always try to be better in anything that you are. Mm-hmm. But this is where I disagree with Eboni. A job title is not, that doesn't make or define you being better.
Yes.
I could have 6 degrees and drive a bus.
Thank you. Or you can have a doctor, be called doctor, and be stupid.
Yes.
And no wisdom. And you just got that doctorate degree.
And I like what Charlamagne said. We got to stop putting value in things like that.
Yeah.
Money, even her saying education, and more value into a person. Are you a good person? Mm-hmm. Do you love God? Mm-hmm. Do you treat your family right? Mm-hmm. Are you a good man by heart? Do you have a good heart? Mm-hmm. We don't value those type of things in this society. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, I agree with Eboni. If you own a home and there's a tree problem, your loving heart isn't going to be able to call to get them to come chop the tree down. Mm-hmm. And it costs about $5,000 to do that. Mm-hmm. So you got to be in a position. She said, I'm tired of Black people always taking the back row of, well, we have a good heart and other people are like, no, you need money, you need finances. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, you could say that without downing everybody else.
Right.
You can say what she said without saying that's mediocre and average.
So you don't feel she cleared it up that much in the show?
Nah. Okay. If anything, I think she made it worse because she actually thinks that way. So it's not, before people was like, well, maybe she misspoke. Uh-huh. No, she actually thinks that way. So that's all I'm saying.
But is it the question of the bus driver position himself is considered mediocre, low, average?
In her opinion,
like he would have to be not a blue collar worker.
No, in her opinion, if he's a bus driver and he owns these homes, like DJ Envy says, property, and he has property, she doesn't consider him average and mediocre. Only the guy who's just driving the bus, who may not be living up to his full potential, in her opinion, is the guy that...
She shouldn't have said own the bus then.
That's what I'm saying.
Because as a bus driver, like you said, he may own property as a bus driver.
Or maybe they don't take value in what she thinks is valuable. Mm-hmm. So that's fine if she says that's for her.
Okay.
But when she starts to talk generalizing like Black people and all this, that's what I don't like.
Okay.
I know she's saying Black people should rise up financially. You know what I care about? Black kids getting killed in Chicago with gun violence. Can we attack that 1st? Can we attack black men and being in the home and making sure that there's a strong father figure and and loving God? What happened to that?
Or even with that, knowing that a lot of situations that may not ever happen, we need another a way for kids to be involved in the community and be safe.
Yeah.
Maybe like I did with George Foreman, and they showed it in the thing. Building a community center.
Exactly.
Where they did learn boxing, they did basketball, they did a lot of sports that kept the kids off the street.
Right.
As well as they taught them value of, being an athlete and all of that.
But that's what I did. I don't like where she places value. Okay. And I understand what she's saying. But in my opinion, if your heart and your inside of you is not good, I don't care that you have $1 million or that black people, we at the top of the list of earners in the world. If our race as a human race is somehow not spiritual or leaving that principle that we have of treating each other good, I don't want to be at the top of your list of high earners. Right. She said Indians are at the top. Indian people are at the top. White people are in the middle. She said white people are mediocre and black people are under white people on that list. It's a list that she named.
Where is she at on the list?
No, she's saying race. It's a list that she named that is in the world.
So she's mediocre.
On top owners. No, she said black people as a race are down below mediocre. White people are mediocre. They not even at the top. Asian people are probably above white people.
What? One of the things too, and it's all fine.
Well, I guess Asian is Indian.
It's all fine and dandy that if that's your gift and goal to help and impart into people, because we're destroyed by lack of knowledge. So lack of knowledge on investing, lack of knowledge on how to save, how to purchase a home, how to do that's wonderful when you're gifted to do that and help people excel, help them get their bootstraps, like Obama said. But one of the things that would help humble you and get a understanding is to visit a third world country, which I did, an area in Africa where we went as missions and we taught, and they were so, oh my God, they love Jesus. The area where we went to, they were poor. Right. They lived in, they pooped in holes. They didn't have running water. They treated us like queens and kings because we were bringing the gospel, and they loved it. The music. They were able to learn about getting rid of their witch doctors, that they were the only doctors they had in those areas because they didn't have doctors with, degrees or whatever. But they loved Jesus. And I sat there and I thought about it. When we're in our country, we think of material things. We think of a lot of things. And I said, these people didn't even have pots to pee in.
Their stock is different than what we look at.
But their love for God, because think about it. They received Christ as their Lord and Savior. And he promised them eternal life. When they leave this earth, they're going to be with him. So I do get what she's saying. But a lot of times we put
it's the way you
say it. And it didn't come
from
you take stock a heart of humility.
If you take stock in being a good person and wanting to be the best person that you can, all the stuff that Eboni is saying will come to pass. Yeah. Because if you love God, if you love your neighbor as you love yourself, if you treat people the way you want to be treated, that will cause you to want to say, you know what, I want to learn a little bit more about such and such. Yeah. Or you know what, I want to do this. Or I want to do. It comes naturally by changing the way that you view who you are now. And the funny thing about that, she said Indian people are at the top. Think about Hinduism. Think about all of those religions that are strong in that nation. It's about inner. And isn't it funny how their religion is about dealing with the inner man and they're at the top of the list as far as excelling in money and all these other things she said. That's because they think about taking care of that first. So that's the part I didn't like about what she said.
And one of the things that my mom's the person that got her life insurance policy going, New York Life to be exact. One of the things that she shared with us, she said, I talk to a lot of families that get life insurance policies for all together. They'll get it for the grandma or the grandfather, the eldest in the family. They do it as a family. They do $1 million policies. They do over $1 million policies. So when that older person dies, they all reap the benefit of that person. So we don't do things as family. We're very divided. A lot of Black families, they're single parents. We don't come together. We're like the crab mentality.
Right.
So a lot of times the unity, like we even talked about with Blacks being unified, even liking each other and liking each other's the good about our race and the strong strength about our race. We're always quick to do the negative, and we don't come together like the Indian families, like the Hispanic families, like the Asian families, and so forth. So I don't know. It's a lot of not unity in our race, but the comments that she's even making makes me go, a lot of people think the way she does, that's why she's not married.
Okay, so let me see. Let me go back up.
Oh, your computer died?
Consider discriminate, yeah. Okay, Emerald has said about the transgender, I agree, if you don't fully embrace the new agenda, then you consider discriminating. Sharon says you must have said something before that. Wendy says we can't see. That must have been the thing. Move it up. We passed that. Emerald says, well, if she had problems dating, now she just escalated the situation. Mm-hmm. When I was a child, the YMCA was free for 3 hours after school. Mm-hmm. Now they charge an arm and a leg for membership. That's true. It was free when we was younger.
It was.
She says that's exactly why Oprah built her school in Africa. She knew that it would have been more appropriated. Yeah, mm-hmm. I agree. Mm-hmm. Appreciated, probably is what you're saying. Mm-hmm. M. Perk says hopefully the people that want to have relationships focus on their lives together find each other, and those that focus on who they are and what they have find each other. Emerald says moral character is not a priority. It's all about looks and the bag. And Mike says, who do you think will be happier? I agree. The person who